Hi. Welcome to my crafting area. Um, this door over here has been ugly for a while. Just yesterday I started painting it, and it didn't occur to me until later. I was like, you could have been recording some of this. Um, and I also still need to make a few like tutorial videos for this app. I said I would do it for them, and I haven't yet because I suck. I've tried recording things so many times. Like I was trying to do an introduction first, just so like people understand who I am. I can't even do that. I'm too awkward. And plus, I have to do it like under 3 minutes. How can anyone explain anything under 3 minutes? So anyway, door. I started it yesterday. Come on. Uh, so I'm gonna see if I can set up my phone to maybe record myself painting, or if I have certain techniques that I use to paint. Um, I might showcase some of those too to give you like tips or whatever if you're interested in the art thing. I feel like sometimes my tips are pointless because um, I've gotten my tips from so many videos online, and I'm just like, I feel like people could access these anywhere else, and I have such a difficult time explaining. Sorry, the camera's shaky. I'm feeling a little sick, and so um, my hand's like doing the shaky thing. So should I be holding it? No. But here we are. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do some painting, and I'll take you along on this journey. Even though I should have done that yesterday, because I spent a long time on this so far. Anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling here, and we'll get into painting. Okay, I can only hope to God my phone stand doesn't fall over. If only you could see it. It's it's like a tripod, so I have two of the legs sitting on the table. The other one is propped up on the back of a chair because this is the only way I can get this angle. And I don't want to pull my table over too far because, well, I just have everything where I want it, and I don't want to be like messing with everything. But anyways, I wanted, because I'm sure you're very interested. Uh, this was my vision from, not like a psychic vision, like my artsy vision here. I ended up with this here. That's what I was trying to paint on the door. I kind of had this at first because I was going to put blue bells in her hair. But then I backed out of that for some reason. I just felt like I started adding a lot of stuff, and I was like, ooh, that might be too much. Sorry you're getting so many close-ups of me. And I know I sound wheezy, and it's because my throat hurts, and I keep drinking water, but my throat feels dry. So anyways, sorry about that. Um, let me... Why do I not do these things ahead of time? Let me see how this looks like with lighting of some kind, because I mean, I can see, but I like it better when it's like bright. There's no real story behind what I'm doing with this door. I wanted something because it had been painted over a few times, and like before I started painting on here, there was like remnants of something painted on the door, and then like a semi-translucent white coat that covered the top of it, so you could still like see the stuff underneath. So I just wanted something more solid, and in my head I was thinking, this room, I don't know if you can see, it's yellow, it's warm toned. I have red furniture and accents in here, and so really I should probably have done warm tones for this. And I tried to pick warm tones initially. I did have, sorry, you got a real close up of my face right there for a second. Real, not roll. I hate when people say that. Anyways, Peach, I was going to make this her hair color, but I don't know. I kept looking at the purple, specifically purple and blue, and I was like, I just want cool tones. I wish this room was cool toned, but it's fine. I can't have everything. So I decided I'm gonna paint this whatever I want, and then I'm just gonna have to buy some decor to like match it. So pro tip, if you are, this goes with your art or, not like I know anything about interior design, but from an artist eye point of view, if you want things to look good, you usually want the colors to all match in some way. And I don't mean using the same colors. I should have a picture of a color wheel to show you. But there are certain colors that look good together and others that do not. And as I was just explaining, most of this room is warm toned. Really warm toned colors would just look nicer in here. But I'm a slut for purple, and I just really wanted it on the door, and I have no control of the color of this room. I could, no, I couldn't. I was thinking I could paint it in here. No, I don't want to. So my plan is, man, I don't want to have to move my thing. Her halo up here, it looks blue right now because I used blue paint to like put up my sketch, and I put some of that peachy color. It's translucent over the top of it because I'm going to add that because that'll be a warm tone that looks good with these colors because they're kind of in the same pastel-y realm. And on the color wheel, I believe it's a cross, right? There's purple here and then orange like right across from it. I can't remember if that's the complementary or the it's been a long time since I've been in art class. I have no idea. All I know is color across from the other one, those are colors that go good together. So I believe it's purple and orange, and here we have purple and then peach, which is a form of orange. I can't talk. Why am I doing this? Side note, went downstairs and made tea because my throat is driving me crazy. What else? Yeah, so I don't know. I'll try to give some kind of other tips. I don't even know where to begin because there's just so much to art, and I'm trying to think back to when I was a beginning artist and what did I need to know. And when I was in school, I was lucky to have a really great art teacher, and she explained a lot of the basics and the fundamentals to me that obviously really helped me understand what colors looked good together and you know, like focal points and making sure you have repeating colors. So like if I added peach on her halo, peach needs to be somewhere else in this piece. If not, it's not going to be a good focal point. It's going to stand out in a way that's like, ew, that peach does not match anything else on here. So I do have, frick, you can't see that either. I have like a peachy yellow stuff I'm going to add down here because I wanted to paint witch hazel at the bottom. So that's my goal. Sorry you keep getting close-ups of me. I'm trying to like stay away. It's not working. So I'm trying to think where to begin because I don't know how much I want to detail her hair. I was considering just adding like patterns because I did find several inspiration pieces to help guide me on what I wanted my design for the door to be. And the one in particular I found, she had patterns she put on her character's hair, but I'm thinking with the black skin it might even look cool to add the patterns to her body, but I'm not sure yet. We will see. And I still need to figure out a background color for this painting as well. I'm so sorry if you hear me swallowing. I feel gross right now. Okay, so not that you need to see my palette, but there it is. That's what I'm working with. Some of it's a little dried out. I covered it up last night, but yeah, not that you care about any of that. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on the flower at first here, which, if you care to know, it's a blue sunflower. Why? I don't know. I love space and I love flowers, so that's what this is kind of about, what this piece is. So for any of you who are new and maybe don't know, it's not a good idea to shade with black. I mean, oh my gosh, excuse me. It's not a good idea to shade with black. It usually makes your pieces look muddy, unless you're going for like that graphic novel look where you have the really harsh shadows, and that's what if you're using strictly black to shade. But I try to pick different colors that aren't like gray, black, white. I don't use those to shade or to highlight. I try to pick other colors. So for this flower, I also This is probably just me. I also try not to use, like, since this is light blue, I could easily use dark blue to shade this, but I don't want to. I want to use I'm probably going to use my dark purple to shade the petals on here, because it'll match obviously her hair, the center of the sunflower, and then some of the stars I have up here. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. I might end up speeding this up so you don't have to see everything. I really hope my phone doesn't quit on me while I'm doing this. And I really wish I could stop hiccuping. Okay, so what I'm doing is kind of outlining it a little bit, adding the center line of the petal. Yeah, I'm not great at explaining. See, this is my issue. I kind of just do whatever, and then like the end result just happens. It's like, oh, that's nice that that worked out. You know what I mean? So I do have these smaller petals in between these big ones, so they're like underneath that one I add more shading to. It's important to think about your light source as you're shading. So for example, since she does have an orangey halo, I'm going to try to keep that in mind when I shade. So like if this petal was bent a little bit, I'm going to add some shading down here. And I kind of use my imagination when I shade. I mean, I'm sure it's not totally accurate. I have practiced a lot, which has given me like a general idea of how certain shadows look. Granted, again, I don't do anything perfectly. I am not a perfect artist. Case in point. I am not a perfect artist, nor am I perfect anything. I can't talk. So, if you picture in your head, like, the shape of this and how this, like, curves, to me, I picture, like, a bend here. I'll paint a line just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And so this is flat, and, like, the light of the halo, it would be shining down, and this would have more light on it. And down here, I would imagine more shadow. I probably should not have pulled that purple all the way over, because really there's probably a little bit of orange highlight that'll go here. I hope you can't hear the music I have playing. I don't work well in dead silence. I have to have something, but I also know if I'm recording for YouTube, I can't like have anything copywritten. And I will die before I play royalty-free ukulele on my channel. No, stop shaking hands, stop it. I feel like my hands always get the shakes, especially when I'm trying to do like finer details. So sometimes I have to learn to work with the shakes. Work with them, not against them, you know what I mean? And another pro tip here, especially when you're working on a very big canvas, it's good to take breaks every once in a while to step back and look at what you're doing. Because when you're looking at something close up, the details look fine, right? But sometimes when you step farther away and you look, things can look wonky. So I had to do that several times with this. I would even take pictures of it on my phone and then look at it from there. From a distance, be like, oh, her eyes are not level, or that one hand is bigger than the other one. And so I have to go in and fix that. So just be careful of that when you're doing big pieces, or, you know, really anything in general. If you have a smaller canvas, you can easily like hold it away and look at it like that. So there's that as well. Okay, yeah, we're still recording. Sorry, my phone has me paranoid. It randomly stops recording, or I don't have enough memory. And I got a new phone that I could use for recording, which I do for some of my junk journal flip-throughs, but it's not an Apple device, so it doesn't pair with anything else I have. So I can't just airdrop stuff. I have to upload it to Google Drive, and Google Drive can only handle so much memory before it's like, oh, don't you want to buy more memory space? No, I don't. I just want to airdrop this to my laptop. But whatever. So there's my issue with that. moving on. Sorry, I'm a rambly artist. I'm not really in between my tutorial stuff. I'm just talking, which I know bothers some people. It bothers me too sometimes. You know, if I'm online, I'm like, I just want the tip. I want like a 2-minute video and I want you to tell me how to do it. um, which is, you know, funny considering I just said, how can anyone teach anything in 2 minutes? But you know, sometimes I get impatient. But really, it is the longer videos usually that help me understand things better. So I don't know if you can see, but there is like, again, a little curve here on the petal. And so that's a spot where I'm gonna add some shading. Let's see. Sometimes it's nice to start with the center line to figure out like where to help you better visualize the curve of the petal. And then again, thinking of the light coming down from the halo. It's probably gonna do something like this. Again, this is another reason I feel weird giving tips, is because I'm like, you know, you just kind of like, you know, you imagine it and you think about it and you're like, yeah, that feels right. But like, I just feel like my teachings aren't totally accurate. I've never had professional training. I had a teacher in high school, and then after that, I really taught myself how to do everything. The hardest was teaching myself digital art, because I was able to get Photoshop. A family member gifted it to me, and it's probably the best gift I've ever gotten because I used it all the time. And back when I first started, there weren't as many tutorials on YouTube about how to use digital art, and the tutorials that were out there, it was clearly like you would have to have been intermediate or like like almost master level to know what these people were talking about. And for me, who's never touched Photoshop, I'm like, all your digital art lingo, like I don't understand any of it. Like, I don't know. Like some of it helped, because I found more about like choosing colors and different tools you can use. But even then, there were some people who were like, don't ever use Photoshop tools, make your own. And like for a beginner, I'm like, I don't know how to make my own. I eventually did find out how to do it, but I wouldn't be able to teach you that because I don't use Photoshop anymore. For anyone who's curious, I use Medibang. I paid maybe $6 to have no ads. Or was it $4 for no ads and then like an extra $5 or $6 for some of their extra filter stuff? And that's all I paid. I know plenty of people who use Procreate, and that's like $10, right? I don't know what it is about Medibang. I just prefer it. I really like it. All that being said, once you learn one art program, it kind of translates to all the other ones. Like, granted, no program will be totally identical to the other, but it'll be easier to navigate because they have the same general like concept for each one. So it's a nice skill to learn, I think, even if you're obviously doing like photoshopping or whatever. It's nice. So I just filled that in too much, so I'm gonna have to remember to come back and add more blue in there. Or maybe I'll just add my yellow, orangey color. I need to not be resting my hand. Another pro tip, don't rest your hand on wet paint. You'd think that would be obvious, but as someone who's done painting for a long time now, I still have not learned that lesson. I just forget stuff's wet sometimes. I'm like, I'm just gonna put my hand here, and then I smudge everything and I get really mad. Oh well. No one to blame but myself anyway. Just be conscious of that when you're painting. Sorry, I have to keep looking back because I'm, again, making sure my phone doesn't shut off. I think I can probably record max about an hour, and then it will just quit on me. So, whatever. It is what it is. I should probably invest in like a camera or something. A camera and a mic, maybe. That's the other thing. I'm hoping you can hear me well enough. I don't have any other way to, you know, project my voice or whatever. I have to be careful when painting the door because of these edges here. I can already see there's a lot of, whoa, that's a lot of paint. White spots on here, which I don't want that. I want everything filled in. Okay, so we have one layer of shading down. Wait, I don't like that. There's not enough paint. So painting is also about layering. I can't tell you how many times I've painted over her hands, or I've been then trying to touch up her hands, and then I paint on the hair. It's just constantly. I almost put my paintbrush in my tea. Jeez. It's almost cold. So what do I want to do next? I might shade with pink and the peach. Why? I don't know. I like shading with pink. What was I doing? Oh, the paint's right here. I thought it was on the floor with my other ones. Wrong. Okay, come on. Pro tip number whatever we're on. Really, you don't need, look at all that paint I put down there. I have my paint things turned upside down usually, so sometimes a lot comes out, and I always hate wasting paint, and that's just what happens. So where was the pro tip in that? Don't dump too much paint. Live by a little dab will do ya, because really it will. But the good news is I do have all this space down here that needs that peach color, so before I stop to take a break or whatever, I'll use up that paint down there just to fill it in a little. What did I... Oh, you put it back. Why did you put it back? Oh, what paintbrush was I using? I think I'm gonna switch it up, actually. Wait. I pulled up the peach and I wanted to start with pink. Shoot. Live and learn. Live with your mistakes. Okay. And I want to start with pink because then I'm going to put the peach on top of that. Not over all of it, just in smaller amounts probably. So now, how do you know how to add highlights, Beth? Well, don't ask me that. Sometimes I follow the shadow line because if you use reference pictures, sometimes you'll notice like right next to each other, one side kind of has dark and the other has a highlight. So I mean that's just what I do sometimes. I mean that's what I'm doing right now. But then I add more than just that because there will be more highlights than just near the shadows. Wish I had a better way to explain it to you, but I do not. So big key when you're shading, highlighting, all that stuff, at least for me, is to make sure you don't completely drown out your base color. You want to make sure you can still tell, oh, that flower's blue, It just has a lot of other colors on top of it for shading and whatnot. So if I feel like that ends up getting lost somewhere in my shading, I'll go back and add some more blue, just to even it all out. Why did you do that? You basically filled it all in. And another thing with acrylics, at least I use the apple barrel stuff, you know, sometimes if you put too much paint on there and it has like the ridges from thicker areas of paint, I try to smooth those down because, like I said before, painting is layering, and it would look fine if it stayed all pink, but if I have to layer stuff back on top of it, you can sometimes see after it's dried that ridge from where the paint was thicker, which isn't a huge deal, but it just, I don't know, I just like my stuff to look smooth. So usually at least what I do, I'll use up paint that I have on the brush, and once there's like little to no paint left on it, then I can go and smooth out that ridge. And right around like these tight edges, you don't have to do strokes. It's actually better to like dab it. You'll get in the crevices of the wood and stuff better, and it'll fill it all in more. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit here as well. Now here I don't care so much about the ridges because the center of a sunflower is textured-y looking anyways, so it might even add to it. Okay, and while I'm on the center, I'm just going to take some more of my dark purple and fill that in a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to pause here because I don't want my phone to die. Okay, hello, we're back. Obviously I have to have a little different lighting in here. Oop, almost kicked my water over. That would have been great. Okay, so can't fully remember where I left off. I took a bit of a longer break than I meant to. Knife tea again, sorry. I just really want this sore throat to go away. So we've added our pink, and now I want to go in and add some of the peach, which another pro tip here. With acrylic paints, it's helpful to either wet your brush before you start painting, or you can mix a little bit of water in your paint. I usually do that, like, I won't put it right here in this one, but I'll take some, put it here, and make a little watery one. Not too watery unless you want like these translucent-y looks, because these I mixed in more water with, because I still wanted to see my star sketch beneath it at the moment. So there you go. Oh, and why do you add water? Because the paint just goes on a lot smoother. You can make cleaner lines if you don't put water on beforehand. If you're not using a lot of paint, it's like streaky, or you know when it feels kind of dry and it makes those, I don't know how to those scuffy marks or whatever. Just not a smooth line is basically what I'm getting at. So yes, if you want to know the secret to nice neat lines in painting, first of all, it's an angled brush. Second of all, it's wetting your brush before you use it. I feel like I still can't even explain to you what I'm doing. I'm adding more, obviously more highlights, but less of them. Not adding as nearly as much as I did with the pink, because the pink is like the secondary highlight, whereas the peach is my brightest color. I hope this lighting is okay. I was double checking the lighting in the first clip I did, and I don't know why it kept like bleaching out. Like sometimes it looked okay, and then other times, I don't know, it just almost bleached out the whole door painting, and I'm like, great, you can't freaking see anything. Whatever. And you don't have to wet your brush all the time. Like this one I haven't dipped back into the water yet, but it was just like soaked really well. Obviously you also have to be careful. You don't want it like sopping wet. Because then your paint's gonna drip everywhere. I like to just let it set in my water for a little bit, or depending how concerned you are about the bristles of your brushes, sometimes I just smush it around in my water cup and really saturate all the bristles that way. Sorry, you probably can't see what I'm doing right here. This edge is not visible in the video. Okay. Pause, tea time. Oh, it's totally hot. Which is good, better hot than warm. I also, uh, if you haven't watched my how to make grunge paper, I kind of use a similar technique when I'm getting paint here. I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna dunk it just to show you. I'm not dunking this. Like you don't want like see all that globby stuff. You don't want that. So when I'm painting, I try to just like pick up on the edges here, or I'll sometimes pull a little bit from down in the palette. There you go. Because you want just enough on there. If you get blobs, that's when you get those like the streaks, you know. And then, I mean, just in general, you end up with way too much paint on there, and then you have to let it all dry. Then you have to paint over it again. And then you get mad because the process is way longer than it should have been. If only you had used less paint. I keep putting too much. No! Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Where's my... Wait, where it is? Okay. Pro tip number whatever we're on, always keep paper towels nearby. And here I have very little paint on my brush, and I'm just glossing over some of this to like give it a blended, glowy look. It probably doesn't look like it's doing anything from your point of view on my phone, but trust me, it's adding a little bit. Except, wait, no, now it's probably not. Oh, that's why it's so quiet in here. I don't have my music playing. Just wondering, I'm like, man, it's eerily dead in here. Almost like someone should be giving commentary while they're painting. Huh? Now we're moving to the center, which honestly I'm not going to be too detailed with. This is when I just do like stripy lines or little dots to try and like, you know, give the illusion of all the seeds, all the texture. I can pretend and make it look like I spent a long time here doing this. reality, I have not. I cheated. Okay, so I know I just gave my speech about don't shade with black, but I'm going to use just a tiny bit to mix into my purple, because I want it a little darker. Sometimes it just doesn't cut it to add another color to get something darker, at least not for me. Because I tried that before, because again with the whatever color it is across from the other one, like I should be able to use orange to make a darker shade for purple. But there's been times I've tried that and like it just looks like gross. Like it doesn't look like the color I want, I guess. Because sometimes I want a harsh shadow. And I think that's where you can use black, is when you're doing like harsher shadows. When people say don't use black, at least in my head, I think they mean don't use it to blend, you know? Or like if you're doing digital art and you're using an airbrush to shade, don't use black. Because that's what makes stuff look, you know, just, I don't know, just muddy, just kind of gross. Whereas here, you're using black to like sharpen things up a little bit. At least for me. See, that just looks so much better versus me trying to be subtle about it. My art teacher would always tell me, Beth, push those darks. I never shaded dark enough. So, that's a phrase that's always in my head when I'm painting. Push those darks. I'm also still trying to decide what I want to do for the background on this. I was thinking maybe like solid black, but I don't know if that'd be too much, like with her skin tone. It might just blend in too much. We'll see. I plan stuff out partially, but then I always do this and make stuff up as I go, really. Because I still don't fully know what I'm going to be doing with the stars in the background. Because I don't know if I want them to just be like solid blue, solid pink. But I also don't want... what am I thinking of? Like, you know where they look too kitty and it's like super light in the middle and it fades out and then it just looks too soft. I don't think that'll match what I have going on here. At least I don't think it will. But you know, you never know. I might change my mind and do exactly that, because that'll be the only thing that looks good or something. It's happened to me more times than I can tell you. I'm not gonna do that for this piece. That's like, oh no, that's the only thing that'll work. Never mind. Guess that's what we're doing. See, I just think adding black makes all the colors pop more. And again, I'm not like mixing it in with other colors, so I feel like that's the key difference here when you shade with black. Because I'm just using it as like solid shading. I don't know what else to call it. I didn't go to art school. I wonder if that'd even be necessary anymore these days. I mean, not that it's not helpful, but just that with all the access we have to knowledge on the internet, especially with art, like, do you have to be school qualified to do artsy things? Maybe if you were doing something technical, like, frick, what was I gonna say? Oh, like video game design, maybe. Or animation, but even then, I feel like there's a lot of that stuff you can teach yourself. Although, obviously, if you learn with a mentor, that goes a lot quicker, because you're not doing as much trial and error. I kind of like having the trial and error experience, though. It just helps me, like, learn things fully, like, oh, that definitely didn't work. So I know, like, I definitely know what not to do. Not that if you're fully trained you don't know that, I'm just saying, like, it just works for me. I took a longer road to learn stuff, but um, I like it anyway. I think it was good for me. Yeah, see how, I don't know if you can, where it's starting to look feathery? That means I need a little bit more water in my paint. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing now, if you haven't noticed already, I'm just trying to clean up some of my line work here. Line work, brush strokes, whatever, as well as still adding a few final touches in here. I'm just trying to make sure all these petals look consistent. Since I started adding some black to them, I want to make sure all of them have just a little bit, because it'll kind of make everything blend together more and look more uniform. Don't put your hand on wet paint. See what I'm talking about? It's a lesson I'll never learn. See, this looks a little bit like it's blending in with the white, so I just want to separate the petals from the white on her neck, which was like cross-hatching shading, but now it's basically all covered up by this flower. Oh shoot. Well, we're making that smaller. Okay. Oh no. And there you have it. I think I'm done with this. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'll be back in a second. And here she is, the finished flower. I know I said I was gonna add more blue, but I don't know. I kind of like it as it is. Yeah, I guess I don't have that much more to say about that. There we go. There's the flower I painted. I hope you've learned something, or if not, maybe you just enjoyed watching me paint. Either way, thanks for sticking around. Bye.